Hello everybody, it is Teacher Andrew back with you today, and today I want to get into the important topic of Chinese New Year, and more importantly, when are the students off and when do they go back to school? So let's get into 4 topics today, and at the end of this, hopefully we have enough ammunition to increase our bookings during the Chinese New Year. So first, when is it? Second, we'll talk about our slots and what we will do with those. We will talk about how feedback is going to help us and trials as we get into the Chinese New Year. So, without further ado, let's talk to the more important thing of when is the Chinese New Year this year? And let me first say, I need to give a shout out to teacher Melissa Costello and to English with Julie. They are 2 sources and 2 straight shooters that I follow and really enjoy watching videos on. They are, like I mentioned, straight shooters. I appreciate that. They don't sugarcoat things. They just say it as it is and are someone that we can learn a lot from. So let me give a shout out to them first and foremost because a lot of this information is coming from them. So let me source those 2 teachers and encourage you to follow them as well. So the kids are off starting on January 18th. Now, this is extremely important to know right away because the frenzy that is starting tomorrow will start looking at that week of January 19th, which is that Sunday. So the Sunday night of January 19th is when we need to start opening up our evening slots if we want to increase our bookings because they ain't going to school on January 19th. All students are off on January 18th. So if we want to start picking up some bookings, let's get that Sunday night, January 19th, open with bookings. And I bet you we will do well filling those because people will not figure this out until it is reality, I think. I looked online. I looked everywhere on Google trying to figure this out, seeing if I could see an exact date, but I had to go to YouTube and look at a few sources, and I think this is now relative gospel. So parents are off, of course, on the 25th, which is the official start of Chinese New Year. And the reason why that is important is because they all get at least a week off. So it's like a mandatory shutdown of all of China. And you'll see a lot of these students are traveling, of course, internationally during Chinese New Year. So, and our student base that we have, of course, is affluent, so they likely will be traveling, or maybe they'll be traveling around China to go visit grandma and grandpa somewhere in China. So the international students or the international travelers we're probably not going to see many classes from, but the ones that are going to visit grandma and grandpa a few hours away, which is probably more popular that we'll see happen, is they will likely take the computer with them, and if they have an internet connection, they will try and have a class there. Grade 4 and above, they're actually back on the 4th, I do believe, is what I heard from English with Julie. They're back on the 4th, whereas grade 3 and below are back a week later, so in around the 10th. So why this is important is we need to keep our evening slots open here for the foreseeable future. I'm not 100% sure on these dates, but I think we're in the ballpark here. So let's just start opening up our slots, evening slots if we want them. I'm staying until that 11:30 cutoff time for me in terms of around midnight for classes and trying to get more classes, because what I learned from Melissa is a lot of what they like to do is they like to take the classes in the morning, which for us that of course is evening, and then go out and enjoy the day in the afternoon with family and go visit or go to the park or go to the zoo or go wherever. So just keep in mind that we're probably going to get a few more night classes because of that. Some of our morning students that we typically have in the morning, they may start taking nighttime classes with us because of that. So we really need to open up our nighttime slots here because that seems to be a good trend for slots to get filled, is that nighttime, our time, which is sort of in the morning then for their time, so that they can go and enjoy the rest of the day. So just keep all of these dates in mind here, and like I mentioned, for our slots, we really just need to cast our nets out really wide. Let's open up our same mornings, our same evening, and pray that we do not get a class like I had this morning. I had a class at 3 bells, 3 a.m., and that's after having a class last night finish at 11. So she was a short night's sleep, but that's all right. We went back to bed at around 3:30 after we got the feedback off for a couple more hours, and we're somewhat functional here today, so that's good. So just keep that in mind in terms of your slots. The third thing that I'll get into is on feedback, and this was a good tip from Melissa. Let's start throwing a little one-liner in our feedback that we are accommodating for Chinese New Year. So let's let the parents know, hint, hint, wink, wink, I will be opening up evening slots or more evening slots to accommodate for the Chinese New Year. So hopefully that's a good subtle hint for them maybe to take you up on a spot during that time period. So let's do that in our feedback. It's super easy. Just cut and paste and throw it in every time as a little addition in there, even maybe right at the top so that they can see it right first and foremost and it doesn't get just glazed over in the bottom or whatnot for there. The last thing I'll go into is tip number 4, and what I heard is that, and this makes sense, VIPKID, of course, sees the bookings go down during this time period in sort of the latter part of January and into the early part of February. So what they do is they blitz out into China and really promote VIPKID for kids to give this a go during the Chinese New Year. So maybe they discount things a little bit more and they advertise a little bit more. Of course, the first 3 classes are free anyways, but they just really blitz in terms of trying to bring in some new kids. So that means we need our Trial 3.0 and our 3 Plus certification if you don't have it already. We need that, of course, to pick up some trial classes, and we need to really go back over, I think there's 7 different trial PowerPoints. Let's go back over those and make sure we do a good job, because if we can get that trial student in and they really like us, they could be a lifer with us. Not to mention we might earn an extra $5 from them converting over to a full-time regular student as well. So let's really brush up on our trial classes. And if we're able to do those 4 things, or at least have the knowledge of those 4 things, I think we're going to increase our bookings over this time period, especially if we get on the ball here right now, because that's going to help us get ahead of the curve, the people who haven't figured this out yet. Let's get into it. And as I mentioned before, you don't have to be smart. You have to find people like teacher Melissa and teacher Julie who have done this before, who have been around the block and understand how this typically works to guide us on our way here. So let's use their advice and let's really rock this Chinese New Year. I'm still rocking the Happy New Year. I figure, hey, it's January 4th here, and if we can leave Christmas lights up until January 1st, then I can still rock this sign and this hat for at least another few days yet. So let's have a good Chinese New Year. Good luck with your teaching. Good luck with the frenzy tomorrow. And let's, again, have a good start to 2020. So talk to you soon. Bye-bye.